Hi, and welcome to Primo University. I'm Daryl Schultz, and in this class we're going to talk about just the basic components of a Primo ceramic grill, and then I'm going to spend a few minutes explaining how a ceramic grill works. So let's get started. Really, we start with the exterior. We start with a ceramic base, ceramic dome, an easy read thermometer that's actually calibratable, and I've got one over right here, so that if you find that your temperature is just a little bit off, or if you want to adjust it for wherever your elevation is for where you live, on the back post right here, we have a small slot right here that you can use for a flathead or a Phillips screwdriver. What you want to do is do a boil test. Now you can just search for boil test thermometer online. Also on the exterior, we have our stainless steel draft door. Now this is where we bring cool air into the grill. On top, we have a powder-coated cast iron top vent. Now this is where you do your most control of the temperature with this. At the very top, you'll notice that there is what we call a daisy wheel. This is really used for low temperature cooking, but for the main adjustments to temperature, you're going to be using this. And what you'll see is as you open it up after the charcoal's lit, the temperature will start to rise. As you get near your target temperature, you're just going to want to close that a little bit, and you'll see that needle just start to slow. What we also have on the back, we have a spring-assisted hinge on the back, so that makes it easy to open the grill. There are two heavy-duty springs in the back, very easy to open and close. Now, I want to move to the interior, which we've got, and as we open it, you'll notice these are the cooking grates. They're porcelain coated, so they have a non-stick surface. I find these to be really superior to stainless steel, cast iron, any of those. They're very non-stick, plus they're very easy to keep clean. What we have here too is Primo has a reversible cooking grate, which is really kind of an ingenious thing, in that if you want to get closer to the fire, you just turn it over. One thing that Primo does is we do not have a fire ring. If you look at other ceramic grill manufacturers, they use sort of the old design of applying a fire ring there so you can get closer to the fire, but we've designed our grates so that you don't have to do that. I'm going to take the grates out right now, and we're going to look at the interior. Now your first component, the thing that really protects the base for high heat and what holds the charcoal, is the firebox. We do have an accessory called a firebox divider. Now that's going to allow for two-zone cooking, and we're going to find out more about that later in the series. Below that is the charcoal grate, and I'm going to go ahead and take these out because we want to make sure that you see what it is. This is where the charcoal is lit, and then at the very bottom we have what's called a ceramic base, and I want to really explain this. This is really part of the firebox. This protects the bottom because it gets very high heat. So you do want to have this, always make sure that you have this in the bottom just to protect your grill. One accessory that I do want to show you that's really integral to the grill, this is the heat deflector rack and plate. Now these come in sets of two, but I'm just going to show you one for right now. What this does is when you have the charcoal underneath it, it allows you to bake, roast, or smoke. So it adds 3 times more flexibility to your grill. We can do both sides, but this is really one of Primo's signature items because we have the patented oval shape, and that allows us to do two-zone cooking, and we're going to talk about that later in this series as well. So those are the basic components, and now we're going to go on to how a ceramic grill actually works. Now we've talked about the different components, and now I want to talk to you about how a ceramic grill works. Based on a very simple principle that when you introduce air to heated charcoal, basically a campfire, you're able to cook on it. The benefit of that is that Primo really harnesses that air and that heated fuel, because as you open it up, the cold air goes in, is pulled in by the lit charcoal. You open up the top vent, and that's how you control the temperature right here. So as you get close to your target temperature, you can start to close that down, close off the air. Less air means a lower temperature, more air means a higher temperature. What I want to talk to you about too is the natural lump charcoal. This is the heat source for the Primo ceramic grill, and it burns hotter, longer, and cleaner than any other fuel source, way better than briquette charcoal. It's really carbonized hardwoods, and so as you were a kid, if you've ever cooked hot dogs while you were camping over an open fire, or hamburgers, you had that very unique flavor that got infused by that wood fire. That's the same thing that you get in a Primo ceramic grill. All right, so we've looked at the basic components. We've looked at how a ceramic grill works. You know, they're really phenomenal outdoor cookers. You can grill, you can bake, you can roast, and we're going to learn more about that in this series. So I just want to thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Hi, and welcome back to Primo University. I'm Daryl Schultz. In this class, we're going to look at how to light the grill, how to bring it up to temperature, and how to control that temperature. So in the next few minutes, it's a very simple process. What I've gone ahead and done already is I have loaded half the firebox with charcoal. There is one basic rule about natural lump charcoal that I always like to tell new users. You can never have too much charcoal, but you can have too little, and that's usually a common mistake. People tend not, maybe a softball size, and they think that will heat up the grill. But the great thing about natural lump charcoal is that after you've extinguished it, after you've cooked, you can come back, stir it up, and you're able to relight it 2 to 3 more times. So it's a very, very efficient fuel source. But what we're going to use today, there are many ways to light the grill. You can go on forums, you can look online and see all the different methods. But really what I'm going to talk about today is Primo's Quick Lights. It's a paraffin wood-based, and it works just like a match. We've got a striker box on the side, and so what I'm going to do is just strike this, light it. I'm going to nestle it into the charcoal, and then we're going to wait about 5 to 7 minutes, let that charcoal really heat up. We're going to close the dome, and then we're going to learn about how to control the temperature. So let's go ahead and do that. So what you want to do is you don't want to put it in right away. You kind of want to hold it down, just let it start to burn a little bit. Make sure that all gets lit. And then we're able to just nestle that right in there. And we're just going to let that go for the next 5 to 7 minutes. And we'll be ready to cook in about 15 minutes. Okay, so now we've got the charcoal lit with the quick lights. I'm going to go ahead and add the cooking grates back onto the grill. And then to let that come up to temperature, I'm going to go ahead and close the dome. I'm going to raise the top vent all the way fully open, and we're going to watch this temperature slowly rise. When we get close to about 25 degrees from our target temperature, we're going to start to move down and start closing down the air. Now, one thing to keep in mind too is that if you're doing low temperature cooking, you really only need to add one quick light. You really want to light it in one area. But if you're doing grilling temperatures, you can add 2, 3 to really get that charcoal going and get a good bed of coals. And just a quick note, we talk about the different ways that you can light it, but one thing that you can't do is you can never use lighter fluid or any combustible fluids in it. What happens is when you use a chemical like that, it ends up being absorbed by the interior of the ceramics, and it really imparts a really kind of a chemical, distasteful taste to the food. So just avoid using any of that. You can use quick lights. You can use a number of different ways to light it that are natural. And so what we're going to do right now is we're going to let it get up. As we said, just close to our target temperature. We'll start closing it down, and I'll see you in just a few minutes. So we've had the grill closed for about 5 to 7 minutes. The top vent's been fully open. As you can see, we're up to and climbing up to about 280 degrees. We're going to try and get to about 325 degrees. And what I want to show you is a little bit how to control the temperature. Now, for the purposes of this cook right now, we're going to be doing grilling. Once we're done with that, I want to talk to you and give you some tips on low temperature cooking as well. So what we're going to do is, as we're coming up, we're just about to 290, 300. What you want to do is the increments. You always want to keep in mind the general rule is the more air that you add, the higher the temperature. Less air means lower temperature. But one of the key tips is that you have to remember is that it is very easy to increase the temperature of the grill, but it's very difficult to get it low. So when we're doing low temperature cooking, like smoking or roasting, you really want to be careful and let that temperature come up very, very slowly and just kind of hit your target temperature, sort of at a walk instead of a run. But for grilling, we're running all the way on this one. So we're up to 300, we're almost up to 325. Now, the settings will be different for each model of the grill, but these are some good general settings. When I'm grilling, I want to put that and just have it open about 3/8 of an inch. I've got the daisy wheels all the way open. I've got my draft door all the way open. And you want to keep in mind too that you're really controlling the temperature with the top vent, even when you're doing low temperature cooking. Even for grilling, if you want to do some roasting where you're cooking and you want to get that consistent for hours and hours at 325 or lower, you can actually take the draft door and close it about halfway. A Primo grill is very efficient with the amount of air that it uses, and that means that you're not using as much fuel either. So we're at the target temp. We're just about up to 350 now. What I would do is just close it a little bit more, maybe close the daisy wheel just a little bit, and now you can see that starting to stabilize. Now, as you're cooking, as you're opening the grill, you're actually going to lose some temperature, but Primo grills come back very quickly. They seem to recover much better than other grills when it comes to getting back to that target temperature. So you can see that we've leveled out. We've dialed in at 350 right now. So we're ready to cook. We can put food on it. And one of the things that I want to talk to you too about the low temperature cooking. Now, we only added one quick light to this particular cook that we're doing right now, this demonstration. That's how I would do low temperature cooking, because you want to take almost 30 minutes, sometimes 45 minutes if you really want to get to 200 degrees Fahrenheit, 225. My setup for doing that would be close the whole top vent, maybe have the daisy wheels open about half, and you want to think about just the width of your finger, put it in here, move it all the way over. And that's really a good general setting for doing low temperature cooking. So when you're doing a brisket, you're doing pulled pork, a Boston butt, doing ribs, you can always keep that rule in mind. And in fact, Primo's actually efficient enough that I actually run mine just a little bit lower than that, and I seem to get a really good consistent temperature. And you can see now, even though I've closed the air, we're starting to lose a little bit of our temperature on that. That's really the basics of controlling the temperature. There is a small learning curve. Once you get your Primo grill and you get it set up, you know, your first cook, you really should do hamburgers, steaks, hot dogs, things like that, just so you kind of get used to controlling that temperature. But after a few cooks, you're going to be dialed in, and I think that you're really going to love just all the cooking flexibility that you can do. So thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Hi, and welcome to Primo University, and welcome to my deck. We're at my home today. We're actually going to be cooking on my grill, and today's class is going to be about two-zone cooking. Now, if you're not familiar with the two-zone cooking method, it's the ability to cook with two distinct cooking zones. You can grill direct and indirect at the same time. Primo's patented oval design allows you to do that far more than any round ceramic grill. So in this video class, what we're going to do is I'm going to demonstrate the grill, give you a few tips on cooking, and then we're going to end the class with one of my favorite things to do, which is actually cook. We're going to do a little bit of surf and turf. We're going to do ribeyes and some shrimp and really show you the benefits of two-zone cooking. So let's get started. The first thing I really want to show you is Primo's patented oval shape. Now we call it an oval design, but it's really two round grills that intersect each other, and that's what gives you those two distinct zones. Now let's look inside the grill. I'm going to take the cooking grates out right now. And to eliminate a lot of the questions that some of you may have, you know, all the grills are pristine, they're all brand new. Well, this is my personal grill. It's got about 400 cooks on it. You're going to see that black patina that's on the inside of the ceramics. For the purpose of this video, I've gone ahead and just put a new firebox in. So as you can see, you've got two distinct zones. I've got the firebox divider inside. Now, the first most popular method that most people use is they load this side with charcoal, they heat it up, and they have the indirect side. It doesn't require any other accessories at all. Another popular one that I really like, and that's what we're going to do today, is I'm going to load the charcoal both sides, but I'm going to add the heat deflector racks and plates on one side. The benefit of that is while you're cooking direct on this side, you're getting all that conductive heat from that heated ceramic plate that's right there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to load up the charcoal into the grill. We're going to light it. We're going to wait about 5 to 7 minutes and really let that grill heat up a little bit. So I've gone ahead and added a full load of charcoal to both sides of the grill. I've lit it in 2 places on each side using Primo's quick lights. We're going to leave the dome open for 5 to 7 minutes. After I close that, I'm going to give you a few tips on cooking. We're going to let that ceramic get that heat wash, get it fully loaded up with heat, and then we're going to be ready to cook. All right, it's been enough time for the charcoal to heat up. I'm ready to put the heat deflector plate in. And one little tip that I want to show you is the heat deflector plate and how you can keep that clean. I get a lot of questions on the website about this. And what happens is that when you leave the heat deflector plate just as it is, because it is porous material, you do get food drippings that can be absorbed into it, and that does create smoke every time that you cook. One of the neat tricks that you can use is just wrap it in aluminum foil. You're able to take it off after it gets dirty after each cook, and that will always keep your heat deflector plates looking pristine. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in, and we are going to close the dome. I'm going to open up the draft door all the way. I want that heat to really start to rise. We're going to go up to about 375 degrees, and that's going to take about another 10 minutes or so. All right, I'm going to go ahead and open it. We're going to take a reading on the direct and indirect side. Now on this indirect side, I'm shooting it with the laser. Now even though the grill is showing 400 degrees, the direct temperature at the charcoal is 929. Now when you come over to the indirect side, I'm going to shoot that heat deflector plate, and we're showing 258 degrees. So that's really the difference between the direct and indirect side. All right, now we're at my favorite part, the time to cook. Let's take a look at the food that we're going to be cooking today. I've got 2 well-marbled boneless ribeyes, and what I've done is I've used Primo's bourbon whiskey twist seasoning rub. I put it on both sides, let the steaks come up to room temperature. That's really the best way to cook and grill a thick piece of meat. And then I've also got some shrimp, and I have just dusted that with Primo's Tupelo Honey Crunch. Now, that is made for pork, but it's so versatile. You can use it on poultry and seafood. It's kind of a sweet, but it gives you a little bit of heat too. So let's go ahead and put these on the grill. We've got that 400 degree temperature that we've been wanting. And the great thing about 2-zone cooking is that you can add both of these at the same time. Now I'm going to go ahead and close the grill. What we're going to do is, because those steaks are about 1 inch thick, we're going to let them go about 3 to 4 minutes on the first side. Then we're going to flip them, and the shrimp can just sit there and roast, and then we're going to move it over to the direct side and just give it a little bit of a char before we pull it off. So I'll see you in just a few minutes. All right, so it's been about 4 minutes. What we're going to do is go ahead and flip those steaks and check on the shrimp. Everything's looking good. Now, you know, a lot of people like to do their steaks at 500-600 degrees. You really don't want to go that far because you're losing so much of the moisture and you're not getting that caramelization on top of the steak. So these are coming along nicely. I'm going to go ahead and flip these shrimp over as well. And we'll be back in about 3 to 4 minutes. I'm going to check the internal temperature of the steak, so I'll see you then. All right, so the steaks and the shrimp have been on for about 4 more minutes. So we need to check the internal temperature and make sure. I like mine medium rare. So I want it to be about 125 to 130 right now. And I am right at 129, so we need to pull those off right away. Oh, that looks great. All right, and then I'm just going to move the shrimp over just for about 30 seconds or so, just to put a little bit of char on that. Now, one of the important things that you want to do is you want to rest the steaks. That allows the internal juices to really redistribute throughout the steak, so it doesn't bleed once you start to cook it. Now, you can use aluminum foil. What I'm doing is I'm just placing a plate over it, and we're going to let that sit there for about about 3 to 4 minutes, and that'll let that just turn out to be extremely juicy. All right, so I'm going to take the shrimp off too. Got a good sear on that. And one little trick, you may have seen it in the other videos with John, is that I do use 2 skewers. That keeps the meat from flipping around. So now that we're done cooking, I'm going to go ahead and shut the top vent to extinguish the fire, and along with the draft door. That'll take about 90 minutes to 2 hours to close down. We're going to wait for those steaks to rest for just a few minutes. We're going to plate it, and we're going to enjoy some great food. See you in a moment. All right, I'm going to go ahead and cut a piece of this meat, see how it turned out. It's supposed to be medium rare, and oh yeah, it is super juicy. Now, if you have any questions about this video, about anything related to Primo, please go to our website, primogrill.com. You can go into the contact page. There's a feedback form there. There's a lot of great information on there about our grills, accessories. And one last thing that I'd ask you to do too is sign up for Primo Life. It's our free email subscription service. It gives you updates, recipes, tips on cooking, just about anything that will help you get the most out of your Primo grill. Thanks for watching.
Hi, I'm John Ruloff, and this is Primo University. Today's class is all about grilling, and we're grilling America's favorite food, cheeseburgers. It's big, it's juicy, it's delicious, and the Primo Oval cooks it like no other. Let me show you what we're talking about. We're gonna get some big old meat patties, starting that up right on there. Thing about meat patties, as you always know, get your 80-20. You gotta get that fat. Gotta have the fat in there. We're gonna give a nice pat down on that, get them nice and solid. Now it's looking good. We're gonna add a little ingredients. We're using Primo's own Chicago Stockyard. We're gonna add a little seasoning to that. Now we're adding a little extra because we're gonna flip it over. Flip it over, get all that extra stuff off the bottom. Goes nice, get that over. We're gonna add a little bit more. Right there, that looks delicious. Give a nice pat. Now remember, with big fat juicy hamburgers, you got to do that trick you've seen everybody do. You got to put that thumb in there. The reason you got to put that thumb in there is because all that beautiful fat you paid for, I like saying that, beautiful fat you paid for, it's gonna swell up. That juice is gonna get nice and juicy. That hamburger is gonna get nice and puffy. We don't want that to happen. We want to keep it nice and flat so it fits in our beautiful ciabatta bun. What we're gonna add here is some grilled onions, tomatoes, and some shredded lettuce. So let's get these burgers on the grill. Take that nice burger, we're gonna open that up. Ooh, there we got it set up. Now we have this with the grilling, we got this set up indirect. We got this grill at 550 degrees. We're gonna get those burgers on there, listen to that. Doesn't that sound great? That is delicious sounding right there. Woo, getting nice there. Now one thing you do wanna do is once they're on the grill, no pushing on that with your spatula. You wanna keep all that juice inside there. So we're gonna get those in there, we're gonna set that, let those start to grill up nice, and look at that, that is delicious. We're gonna go ahead and let those grill with the lid open for about 2 to 3 minutes, get that nice caramelization, get that fire going, and really get some flavor going on that. All right, we got those burgers, they've been caramelizing. We're gonna go ahead and flip them. Give a nice gentle flip. Oh, look at that beautiful caramelization. That's what we're talking about. That's that crunch you're looking for in a burger. Don't smash it, don't mess with it. Just get in there and get that thing nice and flipped over. Oh, we got a little bit of flame. That's what we like. That's all that flavor there. Look at that, beautifully colored, nice caramelization. But these are big and fat burgers. So what we're gonna do is once we get that nice little char on the outside, we're gonna move them to the indirect side and let them finish up. Once we do that, we're gonna grill you some onions, grill you some ciabatta buns, and really make you one awesome cheeseburger. Now what we want to do is we want to get them off the hot side because we don't want them to burn and not be cooked inside. So we're going to get them off the hot side of the grill using that heat divider for the roasting. And now what we're going to do is we're going to grill some onion because come on, you got to have some grilled onions on your burger. These grilled onions have a little bit of butter on there. We're going to add that. We're going to add a little char to them, add some flavor to our burger. We'll get that on there, get some nice char on that. And also, I love a toasted bun. You gotta have a toasted bun. So we're gonna add some ciabattas on there to get them nice and toasted. Once that's all done, We're gonna put them all together. All right, so those burgers have been in there. We got the lid down. We're using that convection effect that we have with our dual zone system. And what we're gonna do is now we're gonna open that up. We're gonna check those burgers. Now this is fresh ground burger, so we can go a little less than 160, but we wanna check and make sure we're getting close to that. Right now we're at about 140. We're looking good. Get there, oh, that's looking really, really good. That one looks a little bit done. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so that's perfect right there. What we're gonna do now is flip the onions. Look at that, some nice caramelization. The sugars are starting to caramelize. We're getting some nice flavors going on there. That's what we're looking for. The ciabatta's getting nice and toasted. Crunchy bun, juicy burger, that's what we're looking for. Now, with those on there, we're just gonna give it a quick flip. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. Some nice, look how juicy those look, guys. Oh, that's so good. Give another flip. Another flip. Then we're gonna put some cheese on there. Now we got some New York cheddar, double sliced, nice and thick. We'll get that on there. I don't know about you, but I always like mine double thick, crisscross. We're gonna just get them melted, nice and melted, not too gooey. We want them to have still some form to them. Easy. Look at that cheese, already that heat, direct heat is getting those onions nice. The indirect is already melting that cheese. Because boy, this grill is hot right now. We cooking. Here goes another piece. Move that one slightly over. That right there. We're in a couple more minutes. We're gonna pull these off and we're gonna plate us some amazing hamburgers. Look at the cheese is perfectly melted. We're gonna get that cheese on there, right on top of that condiment. Then we're gonna get that nice grilled onion right on top. Then we're getting out a beautiful tomato, nice shredded lettuce. Get that all on top of there. Nice toasted bun. Look at that, that is a beautiful burger. When it's all about the food, it has to be Primo. Today we're gonna cook two pizzas, one frozen, one handmade. First one we're gonna start off is the frozen. Primo Grill gives you that great wood fire flavor, even with the frozen one. Let's check out the setup we have here on the Primo. What we've had this here is going at 450 degrees for 20 minutes. We have the heat deflector plates on and the bake stone, which provides that amazing surface where we'll get that nice wood fire crust. One thing we wanna add here is we wanna add some rice flour. The nice thing about rice flour adds, it has a real high smoke point comparatively to your cornmeal. This will help make it non-stick and really make it easy to come on and off the actual bake stone once you have it cooking. So let's put that pizza on. Slide that right on your pizza peel. Let's get that nice and set up right there. We're gonna go ahead and leave that pizza on for 10 to 12 minutes and then we're gonna give it a check. We got the frozen pizza in the wood-fired oven, aka the beautiful Primo. Now we're gonna go ahead and make the handmade pizza. We've already tossed this and rolled this out, got the rice flour underneath that, so let's gonna go and put some sauce on there. We're kind of doing an untraditional pizza. We're actually gonna use a little Parmesan and some dried salami. Just get that sauce nice and spread out. You don't need to go too heavy, just get it on nice right on the edges. Now we're gonna add some shaved Parmesan on here. Get some nice, good quality Parmesan, it's always the best. Get nice coverage on that. Cover all of that pizza, because you know we like cheese. We gotta have some cheese on that pizza. We got that nice and covered. Now we're gonna add some dried salami. Look at that, pizza's looking great. You don't wanna get the toppings too heavy because this pizza is gonna be cooked at 550 degrees, real fast, real quick. You don't wanna add too much time because the more toppings you add, the more time it's gotta sit in there and cook, so we're gonna add just a light coverage. So let's go ahead and check on that frozen pizza. Wow, that looks really good. It's time to get it off. Just give a nice slide. Look at that nice crunchiness, nice and crisp. So now we let this frozen pizza rest for a while. We're gonna go ahead and slice it up and try some. Look at that, nice and crunchy. That's what you're looking for. That's the whole thing about wood fire pizzas, is having that nice crust. Even with this frozen pizza, That Primo gives you that excellent wood-fired flavor, that wood-fire crunch, which you're looking for. Look how crispy that is. That is the delicious pizza. But we got the Primo cranked up to 550 degrees, ready for our handmade pizza. Let's get it started. Raise that up. We're going to do there, see it's nice and smoky. We're going to add a little more rice flour because we don't want it to stick. So add a little more rice flour on there, creating that non-stick surface that we're really looking for. Then we're going to add the handmade pizza. So the pizza's been on for about 8 minutes. We're going to go ahead and check it. Look at that. That is beautiful. It is completely done. One thing I did do is in about 3 to 4 minutes, I did check it, give it a slight little rotation, make sure everything works out real nice. Let's just take that off. We're going to put that over here. We're going to go ahead and let that rest for a few minutes, and then we're going to try that amazing pizza. Now we've had the pizza resting for a few minutes, we're going to go ahead and cut it up and give it a try. Oh, it's nice and crunchy. That's the good thing about a Primo wood-fired oven is that nice crunch we get. Woo! When it's all about the food, it has to be Primo. That's Primo. Hi, I'm John Ruloff, and welcome to Primo University. This class is all about roasting, and what we're going to roast today is a wonderful chicken. We're going to do it the old-fashioned way, beer can style. The great thing about beer can chicken, it infuses the chicken with flavor and helps it break down and make it tender. So let's get started. Two things you want to make sure that you do is some trimming on here. One of the trimmings you want to do is you want to take off the tail. Reason being is that tail is full of fat, and it's going to sit there and it's going to bind on underneath your chicken sitter and cause a fire. The other thing you want to do on a chicken sitter is you want to take off that neck bone. See how the neck bone sticks up? What that does is it has a tendency to catch on the top of the lid and just takes too long to cook. So we've taken that stuff off. Now what next we're going to do is we're going to pre-oil this, give it a little oil on it, just a little bit. And what the oil is designed to help give a nice roasting color and helps the rub. Speaking of rub, we're actually using Primo's Chicken Tickler, a real good rub for your chicken. We'll put that nice and heavily coat it. So you're gonna let that sit, just set up for a little minute. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the fun part. We're gonna add some garlic cloves. We're gonna go ahead and crush some garlic. Get that nice and cut right there. Just peel off the peels. Don't get to be too clean, but you just wanna break that open so the aroma gets in there, the oils get in there, just drop that in there. We're gonna do 2 because these things are slightly large, more like gigantic, right? Get that, give it a good pop. Break that, just peel that off. Get all that peel off of there. Like I said, you don't have to get every piece of that peel off, but just a good amount of it. Drop that in there, and then now the fun part. Put it in your beer. Now I like a nice beer. Cheap beer, let's not do that. You always want the good stuff. You want to make sure it's stuff you're drinking. Just get that nice and filled up there. We're gonna put that chicken sitter right there. Next thing we're gonna add is just the rub. Again, adding Primo's Chicken Tickler rub. Oil's nice and coated. Slide that back. Give it a nice liberal sprinkle. Coat all the nooks and crannies. Make sure to get under that wing. Get on the back. Again, remember this is barbecue and we're gonna get a nice liberal coating. Roasting, you gotta coat all those areas, all those nooks and crannies, we gotta coat those, okay? Then we're gonna take it, get that chicken, give it its throne. We're gonna set Primo's chicken sitter, sits there like this. Now one thing I always like to talk about is you ever remember when you were a kid, heard the chicken wing? And when you're roasting, you always want to put the chicken in the chicken wing because what happens is when the chicken wings sit out normally, they end up having a sense to burn, really messes up the look and the flavor of your food. Put it in a nice little chicken wing. When you're done, it looks like that. Nice little option, nice little add-on to that. Keeps those chicken wings out of your way. Then what we're gonna do is take this and put it in the Primo. Now the Primo is set up in our dual zone system. We have the nice hot direct heat under our diffuser. The good thing about this is the other thing we're using Primo's remote thermometer system. And what we're doing there is we're gonna be able to put this and set it and forget it. So we put this, sit right on there, nice and pretty. Look at that. Get it nice and set right there. Then we're gonna take the digital thermometer, which is right here. We're gonna plug that right into the breast. Now, when you get close to that tenderloin, right in that spot like that, we plug that in right there. Okay, that tells me 2 probes. We've got one probe telling us the temperature of the grill. The other probe is telling us the temperature of the meat. We close that down. We set our remote timer. Tell what temperature we want. We want our breast at 160. So we set in our 160. We see the temperature. We're gonna set that for about an hour, hour and a half, or until it reaches 160. And then an hour, hour and a half will be done. All right, the sensor's gone off. Our breast is at 160. We're gonna go ahead and take this off. Come on, take a look at this. This thing is awfully beautiful. Woo, look at that. That is nice. Just take off your thermometer, just like that. Take your pan. That. Just give it a little wiggle, wiggle. Put it in right there. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna let this rest for about 10 to 15 minutes and let all the juices get all back inside it, and then we're gonna carve it, show you how good it comes out. Now we've let it rest, now we're gonna go ahead and carve it. So we're gonna take this over here, the chicken over here. Look at that, it's so tender, it is practically falling off. Go ahead and cut off the thigh and the leg. So it's separating the thigh from the drumstick. Get that nice cut right there on the wing. Just give it a nice little cut. Nice thing about these is it's just so tender and juicy, it'll just pop right off. Slide that, look at that. Absolutely tender and juicy, delicious. Now, cutting the breast. Give a little score like that across the top of it. Put this right here, this is a family secret. This is how we do our turkeys in the Ruloff family. Cut this down, follow the bone, slide it all the way down. You're gonna catch that right there. Just slide, slide, slide till we reach the bottom of that cut. Oh, that looks good. Look how juicy that looks. Put that out of the way, and now this is how you get those beautiful restaurant quality slice. Look at that, cuts real nice. Look at all the juice coming out of that chicken. When it's all about the food, it has to be Primo. Hi, I'm John Ruloff, and welcome to Primo University. And this class is all about my favorite subject, low and slow. The Primo is an amazing cooker, and when it does low and slow, it is stellar. What we're gonna do today is we're gonna do some baby back ribs, one of my favorites. They're easy, they're simple, and man, the Primo makes them so juicy and tender. All right, we're gonna trim these up. One thing about baby backs is you gotta get this little silver membrane off, and you just wanna use your standard boning knife. Just slip that in there right underneath there. Just get rid of that, because what that does is that adds a barrier for flavor, and we don't want that in there. We're gonna add all this beautiful rub. We're gonna add some mustard to create some nice bark on that. And we gotta get rid of that extra fat and that extra membrane that's sitting there in the silver one. We gotta remove it. The other thing you also wanna do is make sure there's no bits and bones. We got a little piece right here off the trimming off the side. Make sure that when you flip it over, just run your hands over, make sure it's smooth, no sharp edges. We got a little bit of a wild tail right there, so we're gonna cut that off and make it easy and clean. Now we're gonna add just a little bit of yellow mustard. Just a little bit, boom, right there. Yellow mustard, this is a big secret. Yellow mustard adds a flavor profile. Most people say, I don't like mustard. Well, the thing is, we're not adding a mustard flavor. We're adding the chemicals of the vinegar and the mustard seed to break down and really add some flavor to that and really creates the base of our bark. So just give it just a light coating on that, get a nice flavor profile right on there. And then we're gonna add the rub. Primo's Honey Crunch rub, we're gonna add a nice little amount of that on there, and it's gonna add this great flavor. It has your paprika, it has your salt, it has your sugars, and it has honey. And let's be honest, a little honey on some pork never did any harm to anybody. So add just a nice liberal covering on that. Just let that rub, just sit on there for about 10 minutes. Let's get nice and gooey, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take it over and put it on the smoker. It's been 6 hours. Those ribs look amazing. You guys wanna see them? Woo, look at that. 6 hours those baby backs have been sitting on there. Look at the capacity. We got 8 racks in there. That's a 9-rack system. Amazing. So we're gonna pull those off. Look at that, ain't that beautiful? Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So does anybody want to see them eating? I do, because I'm really hungry. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take one of these racks out. Look at these. Woo. Look at that. That is beautiful. Look at that, nice and tender. Look at that nice bark on there. We'll get a nice little cut in there. Look at that, it's nice, beautiful smoke ring right there. Look at, oh, the juice is just delicious on that. 6 hours, all we did, we set it, we forget it, and let Primo let it do all its magic. Get a nice other cut. Oh, that is so good looking. When it's all about the food, it has to be Primo.
Hi, and welcome to Primo University. I'm Daryl Schultz, and this class is going to be on maintenance. Now, there's not a whole lot of maintenance to a Primo ceramic grill, but depending on how much you grill, there are some general checks that you want to do from time to time. I can't tell you whether you need to do it every 3 months or once a year. It really depends on how long your grilling season is and how often you grill. So we're going to start with the exterior. You notice this stainless steel hardware that we have on it. What you want to do is you just want to make sure that you've snugged up that hardware. You don't want to over tighten it because you can snap a screw. So you just want to make sure that they're snug. So I'm going to take a 1/2 inch wrench just on the handle, and I'm just going to snug that just a little bit just to see what kind of resistance I get. And I'm seeing that there's plenty right there. Now, there are 2 other areas that you want to look at. The first being, if you come over here, we have the 2 band tightening bolts. There are 2 nuts on the back, and you'll notice that the bolts are actually deformed. That's what tells us at the factory that we have that proper pressure. But all you want to do is just come back, put it on there, and just make sure that you're getting some good resistance on there. Now, the next area that you want to look at is the hinge plate, and we have 4 cap screws on each side. So you just want to come back, just make sure that they're snug, just make sure that there's not really any type of looseness there. And I want to show you one last area. Now, this is your hinge plate on the back. This is where your serial number is. You can just pull this straight off and look inside. If you feel that there's some kind of play, that it just feels like it's not acting like it was the first day that you had the grill, you can see that you can use an Allen wrench here. You can use a box wrench here on here just to make sure that those are all tight as well. And then this hinge plate goes back on very easily. Now, the next thing that I want to show you is just a little trick. It's real important that you have your gaskets have that nice seal. That's going to help you in 2 ways, especially when you're doing low temperature cooking. You want to make sure you have that seal, because if you're introducing extra air in there, it's really going to be hard to maintain that low temperature. Also, when you shut down, if you're allowing air to get in after you've shut your draft door and your top vent, you're going to be burning more of that lump charcoal than you really need to. So to make sure that your gaskets are sealed, what we're going to do is we're going to do what's called the dollar bill test. It's a very simple test. What we're going to do is we're going to take a dollar bill and we're going to look for resistance. We're just going to go around the grill. We're going to drop the dollar bill in. It feels snug. You're just pulling it. You're feeling resistance. And as you go around the grill, more resistance. You can come back here at the back. I can't even pull it out from the back. It's so tight. So you just want to work your way around that grill. Make sure that you've got that nice seal. Now, if you feel areas where there's no resistance, that means that you've got a leak there. So Primo does make replacement gasket kits, and so I would recommend that you get one of those. They come with full instructions. It takes about 30 minutes, and that will really improve your cooking ability. One thing that I want to talk to you about too is from time to time, you will have your grill, it may be periods of non-use, and especially if you're in a high humidity area. If you get a lot of rain, what can happen is that mold or mildew can grow inside the grill. Now, don't be alarmed. I mean, it's a warm, moist, dark environment, just the perfect environment for mold. But fortunately, Primo ceramic grills are a self-cleaning oven. So very simple steps to rid that. If you do happen to open it up, you see a little bit of mold or mildew that's growing. Sometimes it's from food that's been left on the grill or food residue. Very, very easy to eradicate. All you do is load the grill up, get it up to 500 degrees or higher, and just let it run for about 30 minutes. That's really acts like a self-cleaning oven. And so once you're done with that, shut the grill down, let it cool off, come back, and you can use it. What you can do too is if you do see any residue, you can use a soft bristle brush, but that's really not necessary. You can just wipe down the cooking surface and you'll be good to go. The next thing is ash removal. Now, Primo Ceramic Grill's natural lump charcoal does not produce a lot of ash, not anything close to what briquette charcoal does. But after you've used about a 20-pound bag, you'll get about a cantaloupe size of ash in there. And so there's a really easy way to do it. We've got an ash tool. It's kind of in the shape of a J. And what you can do is just open up the draft door. I do want to caution you though, you want to do it after the grill is completely cool. You want to make sure that there's no hot embers in there that you'd be pulling out. So just get yourself a bucket or a receptacle, and all you're going to do is just reach into the grill, scoop it up, and just scoop it into that bucket, and you'll be good to go for another bag. Now, we talked about gaskets and how ceramic grills can be sealed. So I want to end the class and talk to you about flashbacks. Now, flashbacks are a characteristic of ceramic grills, Primo and all other ceramic grills, because we do have the ability to seal a very high fire within the grill. So what can happen is that when you're at very high grilling temperatures, if you inadvertently completely close off the air of the top vent and the draft door, what can happen is that natural lump charcoal, it is starved for oxygen. And what causes a flashback is just lifting the grill up after you've done that, because what will happen is oxygen will rush in and it will come back out as white heat. So you risk a burn injury, but there's an easy way to prevent that. If you do find that you've closed both of those and you're at a very high temperature, very easy to solve. You just open this back up, open the top vent back up, wait a few seconds. That allows the oxygen to come back in and kind of stabilize that fire. And then you just want to burp the grill. You just want to lift it up for just a second, put it back down, and then you can lift it back up, and that will always prevent flashbacks. So it's very preventable. Thank you for joining me, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Hi, and welcome back to Primo University. I'm Daryl Schultz, and in this class I'm going to answer the most popular questions that we get. We get a number of questions through our website, on our forum, social media, and even when we're out at events. So I'm going to go through each one, and for those of you who are considering Primo ceramic grills, I think this will help you get a better understanding and make the best choice. The number one question that we get is, what is the difference between Primo ceramic grills and all other ceramic grills? Well, that's very easy to answer. The first being that we are the only ceramic grill made in the United States. Virtually all other ceramic grill companies source their grills from foreign companies in China, India, Mexico. In our facility in Tucker, Georgia, we do everything from the mixing, the molding, the drying, the firing, the custom fit, and the packaging, all from that facility. I think that gives us just a great advantage over all other ceramic grill companies. Now, another distinct difference is Primo's patented oval design. This came out in early 2000. Traditionally, Kamado grills, ceramic grills, have always been round. When we came out with the oval design, it created a whole new flexibility for ceramic grills. We were able to do two-zone cooking, is what it's called. We're able to create two distinct cooking zones where you can grill, you can roast on the same grill simultaneously. That's something that round grills, they may promise it, but they can't deliver to the degree of a Primo ceramic grill. What's the difference between a Primo ceramic grill and a gas or a briquette charcoal grill? And that's very easy to answer as well. You know, as you can see, Primo grills are made of ceramics. Virtually all other grills are made from metal. The disadvantage with metal is that it radiates heat. You know, when you have a gas grill, you have a kettle grill, briquette charcoal grill, you put your hand on it when it's 400 degrees, you're going to get a burn injury. That's not going to happen with Primo ceramic grills. And when they're actually radiating that heat, they're pulling the moisture and all those natural oils out of the food. The difference in a Primo ceramic grill is that it holds in all that moisture, it holds in those natural oils, and it really creates amazing flavor to food, and ones that are far juicier than you can get with any type of a metal grill. And you know, the other thing too is, with a gas grill, you're not going to get that wood wood-fired flavor, that campfire flavor that you get with the natural lump charcoal that you get in our grills. So while you are cooking outdoors, you're technically not getting that great charcoal flavor. You know, and even with briquette charcoal, that's really made from wood char, and it does have some disadvantages. You know, they have different chemicals and binders in it, especially if it's an instant light type, and that does impart a flavor to the food. You know, if you try our grill against that type of charcoal, I think that you'll definitely see a difference in the flavor of the food. Also, they can't get as hot as the natural lump charcoal. Briquettes, they reach about 550 degrees or so, and they do produce a lot of ash. How do I light the charcoal? We covered this in one of our videos, but quite simply, there are a number of ways to light it. Primo makes a line of quick lights, which are paraffin and wood. They come really much like a matchstick. You have a striker on the side, you nestle that in the charcoal and you can light it. There are other ways, you know, some people do use electric starters. They use the chimney starters. Some even use butane or MAP torches. You just have to be very careful when you're using a torch, if that's the choice that you make, because you can get a lot of popping from the charcoal, and you do risk the chance of overheating and creating a hot spot on the charcoal on the ceramics where it actually could crack. So I would caution you on that. One very important caution is to never use lighter fluid on a ceramic grill. If you do that, it will impart kind of a distasteful color, kind of a chemical taste. So you never want to use that or any type of combustible liquid. How do you clean the grill? Well, luckily, Primo ceramic grills are self-cleaning. You know, you never really have to go in and clean it other than the cooking grates. And what I recommend is when you're done cooking, you can go into the grill, use our grate cleaning bar, clean off those cooking grates real nice while the food is still, while it hasn't hardened and developed kind of a hard residue. That's the best way to keep it clean. If you've got your cooking grates clean, then you have a clean grill. Now you will notice over time as you use your grill that a black compound, some residue will build up inside of the grill. That's called creosote. That just comes from a lot of delicious meals, I would say. But if you do feel the need that you do want to eliminate some of that, you can use a soft bristle brush and just brush the inside of the dome, brush the inside of the base, and that will take care of it. But unless you have a really huge buildup, you don't need to do that. What accessories do I need? You know, that really depends on what type of cooking that you're going to do. The one that I would really recommend that really extends the versatility of the grill is the heat deflector racks in place, because that's what turns your Primo ceramic grill into an oven, a roaster, and a smoker, because then you're cooking with indirect heat. You can also split those, so you can be able to cook with the 2-zone method. So that's a very versatile one that I would highly recommend. Now, you know, if you're cooking for a lot of people, we do have a number of extension racks for each grill model that we have. We have rib racks, we have a 5-slot, 9-slot, a V rack as well. Just a whole host of accessories. But really, it's really all about the cooking that you want to do. You know, if you're into authentic pizza, then you're definitely going to want to buy the baking stone. That's going to allow you to do that. But I would encourage you to go to our website, take a look at all of the accessories that are available. There's descriptions on every one of those, and that'll help you decide the best. Do I need a grill cover for my Primo ceramic grill? And the answer is it really depends on where you want to use your grill. You know, if you're going to leave it outside, if you're going to store it for extended periods, I would recommend getting a grill cover. They're not always, you know, Primo ceramic grills are made to live outdoors. So while it's not necessary, really the most primary use that I would definitely say it was required is if you're using one of our teak or cypress tables. Just because wood is such a natural product and it's susceptible to the sun, you do want to protect that from day to day. In those instances, I would recommend that you get a grill cover. Will my Primo ceramic grill crack in extreme cold or in the rain or out in the elements? The answer is absolutely not. We have customers all around the world, in Canada, in northern parts of Europe. They send us pictures of them grilling and it's 40 below zero. So there is no danger of that. Even if you're in an area where there's heavy amounts of rain, even if you have the grill up to 600-700 degrees and it starts to rain out, you don't have anything to be concerned about at all. The only thing I would caution you about is if you do have a lit grill and it is very hot, the number one way not to extinguish the coals is to pour water into your grill. That is kind of a danger zone, and it will also create quite a mess. What is Primo Ceramic Grill's warranty? Great question. We have a limited lifetime warranty on the ceramic parts, plus a 20-year guarantee. And that, a lot of people ask us, why do you tack on the 20-year guarantee? The answer is quite simple. When you have a lifetime guarantee, it is really determined by the state that that customer lives in. It's not by the actual company that's providing it. And sometimes that can be as little as 7 years. So we want to give all the assurance to the customers who've invested in Primo that not only they have a lifetime, but it's backed by a 20-year guarantee. So 20 years out and beyond, you're going to be covered. Now, if there is a question that I haven't answered during this class, we would love to hear from you. Please go to primogrill.com, go to our contact page. There's a small form under that tab that you can leave us your comments and questions, and just leave us your email address. We'll be happy to respond. Now, if you are looking for a ceramic grill and you're considering Primo Ceramic Grills, I'd encourage you to go there, look at our full line of grills and accessories, and I would hope that we are a good fit for you. And just remember, when it's all about the food, it has to be Primo.